Welcome back to 20-Sided Adventures. My name's Ryan, and we're going to get into the Pathfinder preview for Remastered that Paizo released. Uploads have been a little sporadic of late. I do apologize for that. I am planning to get back on a regular schedule. Work's really busy this time of year for me, as well in the summertime. A lot more medieval reenactment events are happening because it's not raining here in the Pacific Northwest. I also have two Pathfinder 2e supplements I'm working on and really excited to be released soon. So keep an eye out for that. And with no further ado, let's get right into it and look at this remaster preview that's been released for Rage of Elements. Okay, here we are, Pathfinder Core Preview. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty on every line in here. Most of you have probably read through it. This is going to just be my take on some of it and a couple highlights. So first, we get a laundry list of rule nomenclature changes, which are going to be pretty tough, I think, for some veterans. For me, I'm never going to remember Thalassic. Never's probably an exaggeration, but it's going to be a while, where Aquan is what you speak in the realm of water. So that's going to take some getting used to. I think the change of attack of opportunity reactive strike makes a lot of sense, especially since they are so less prevalent in 2e, and it's really what it is because it uses your reaction. So I think that one will be an easy one. Yeah, just like negative energy to void. I never really liked the idea of the negative energy plane as it was, so I think void thematically is better for the 2e world. Again, in my homebrew world, a lot of this isn't going to apply, but just lots of little tweaks. Spell level to spell rank, very good change. Yeah, so just be aware there is a lot of changes to some nomenclature. So newer players will be obviously more familiar with these words. Older GMs and players, if you're at a table with newer players, just be aware of this. It's something that's going to be a little bit of a culture shift at some tables. This is explaining what some of the rules are, talking about attribute use, how the removement of alignment works, being sanctified or not. It's kind of nice to see how that's going to be in written form, pretty straightforward. Certain deities are going to require it. You'll get the holy or the unholy trait. They kind of talked about it before, but it's nice to actually see it in writing. Dedication feats are getting their trait updated, so you're not going to have as much rule spam throughout the book, which is one of my favorite features of having the traits in 2e. Spells in general. So here's a list of how spells have changed. They have taken away just how you're going to see them in the book. So your somatic, your verbal, all those kind of things are going to be replaced by traits with the concentrate, manipulate, and other things like that to show if you're going to have to use your hands, if you have to speak, if you have to concentrate. We're also getting the focus spell updates in here, where they're just condensing focus spells rules and making it a lot simpler. You can only have 3. Refocus only increases 1. If you had feats at later levels that let you refocus more, they've consolidated all those into a single feat at 12th level. You do this action, you get all of your focus points back. Much simpler, way easier to understand. You get 3, you can get 1 back until you get a feat that lets you get them all back. Cut and dry. Some controversy throughout the realm. Let's see if we can find it here. It's the ignite spell that was, or ignition spell specifically in here. So it looks like they are replacing a lot of the cantrips. Ignition is now no longer applying your stat ability modifier to damage. And then this here, somewhere on my screen, wherever I poke it up, is from the Discord that was posted on Reddit. And they're talking about how they intend to do this for all cantrips. And this has caused a lot of people to argue back and forth. I have 2 opinions on this one. The first, it's much more in line with other ranged damage dealers. You don't get your stats to bows. Mages were getting their stats to cantrips, which is like your basic bow shot. As you go down as a ranged character, you get feats that let you do a lot more cool and impactful damage. As a caster, you get better spells. So I don't think that's a big deal. The design problem I see with this is they have clearly stated that anything from past versions are still legal to use. So if all the new cantrips, unless it's an errata to change them, are not just better than the old ones, players are going to go use the old ones and get the stat damage. So I'm curious how they'll address that as this all comes out. I can just see mages taking the old cantrips, and if they like them better and they do more damage, that's what they'll do. Now, Ignition did get an increase in damage dice if you melee with it, so that's kind of a nice change. I think like a Magus would probably like this spell better now. So yeah, if they change them and at least make them compelling, I think that's what needs to happen. If they just strip the modifier out, players are just going to use the old ones if they're still legal. So that's kind of my thought there. You get a wide variety of spells here. Oaken Resilience, great name change because Barkskin was stupid. A couple other things in here. My other probably favorite change, let's scroll on down to it, is Wish. So I have always found the Wish spell to be very strange. You can choose to do a lesser level spell or ask for something ridiculous. Like the balance of power there was so far off. So this is a fantastic change. They've taken the substitute a different spell of into the Wish spell as its own. I forget which one it was. I'd have to scroll around and find it. But they've taken the awesome part of Wish and made it a ritual and made it extra awesome and pretty tough. 100,000 gold to do it, and the GM gets all kinds of fiat to have deities and entities and things jump into this Wish and mess with it. I'm really excited that just how this could play out at tables. This type of ritual and how they've designed it is the stuff people talk about for years on how cool their game went at a table. So I think this Wish ritual is amazing. Items, we got some reworks to a couple items changes. Talismans especially got a bit of a boost. They're a lot more straightforward. Activate them, do the action they're associated with, get the bonus. Fantastic consumable items. Creatures, so monsters got a little bit of a nerf. So the grab, knockdown, push, instead of just automatically happening, they now have to make an attack roll. It doesn't count against multiple attack penalties, so it's still pretty strong for the monsters, but it's not as just, haha, I hit you, so now I've also done this other thing. I think it gives a little bit more gameplay, and the dice matter more, and it's just not a guaranteed thing. I think this is a good change. Monsters with these abilities sometimes got a little out of hand. They can still use these abilities to maintain the effect for free, so they're still stronger than the normal grab, knockdown, and push, but not quite as strong as they were. And then finally, at the end, we get some examples of what the new bestiary is going to look like, and they included all the genies in it as kind of a free test, some great artwork, some cool Jinn baddies here, or goodies, depending on how they're going to play out in your game. And there you go. That's a quick look. Again, really excited for Remastered coming out. Going to have Rage of Elements when it comes out and do a video on that, and then try to get back to my class videos and some other Pathfinder content here on the channel. If there's anything you're interested or would like to see, I would love to hear from it in the comments. As always, go have some 20-sided adventures.